trashy pulp novels of the world have anything to offer? Are bestsellers all they're hyped up to be? The Terrible Book Club explores whether or not you really can judge a book by its cover or its ridiculous synopsis. If you've ever seen a book and thought, ugh, who's reading this? We probably are. Of the Terrible Book Club. I'm Paris, and this is Chris.
Hello.
This time, we read Maradonia and the Law of Blood by Gloria Tesch. We're reading this at the behest of our patron, Dari. Thank you, Dari, for your long-standing and diehard support of Terrible Book Club. We hope you enjoy this, hopefully, final foray.
The last one.
Into Maradonia.
It's over.
So if this is your first time listening to the show, what we do here at the Terrible Book Club is we read books that we assume will be bad based on their cover, title, summary, or some combination of those three elements, and then we review them. So we do the opposite of what most people do in a bookstore or while they're, browsing online or on Amazon. We try to read things that we think we will hate, just to see if we're going to be right, if we can find maybe some joy in something awful. I don't know. It's a journey, and I hope you'll enjoy it.
It has certainly been a long, especially down this one particular road.
Yeah. So usually this experiment results in a disappointing read, and it's often hilarious. But sometimes we end up liking the books that we pick. For content warnings today, we've just got our usual barnyard language. Chris and I speak casually. We've got a lot of swearing. There is one sexual assault scene, unfortunately. Yes, once again, in this fucking joke of a book, there is a sexual assault scene. So, sorry about that, everybody. Thought we could avoid it, but nope. Just like that Woman You Marry book. Just a joke of a book, but then, surprise. So, be prepared for that later on. Just gonna read the summary for... I almost said Gloria Tesch and the Law of Blood. At this point, why not? That's fine. All right, so the summary for Maradonia and the Law of Blood, Book 4 in the Maradonia series. Ahem. Gloria Tesch is one of the world's youngest novelists and widely seen as a great talent, able to take her readers on an exciting fantasy journey from the ordinary world to the legendary world, to the land of Maradonia. In Maradonia and the Law of Blood, Gloria Tesch brings us back to the land where... anything is possible. In the latest installment of this thrilling saga, Joey and Maya not only have the fate of several worlds on their shoulders, they are also burdened with affairs of the heart. If you're interested to know more about Gloria Tesch, her family, and their book series, Maradonia, you can check out episodes 11, 62, 63, and 86 of the Terrible Book Club.
That's not part of that summary, by the way.
I know. That's true. Sorry, I probably should have taken more of a breath. Yeah, they're now printing that on the books. No, but... so I'm sure many of you have been here with us before, have perhaps done your own scary dives into this world. But yeah, we've covered these books a lot, at the behest of patrons. We really, like I said in the last episode, we only read, the first book kind of on our own, and all the other ones were because our patrons really wanted us to. Plenty of other people on the internet have done deeper dives on the family and the series. There are blogs and things, notably Conjugal Felicity and someone called Swanky V. I'm not sure how to say that. And there are others. There are also various message boards online where people have, kind of done some borderline stalking on the family.
Yeah,
so there's that too.
A thought or two about that later on. But
I guess in some, as long as no one's harassing anyone, I guess it's fine. It's just research. We definitely learned some things from those. But yeah, so just wanted to point out that we're just going to talk about the book. We're reviewing the book. We're not going to talk about, we're not really, at the end, we're going to try to bring some closure to this whole thing. to our journey through Maradonia. I'm going to try to get back to Oceanside today.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'm just pointing out that if you're looking for people
like
shitting,
Tesch gossip,
shitting all over that's not what we're doing.
This ain't it.
So, if it's relevant, we might talk about a couple of things, but that's certainly not what this is. All right, so our characters and setting. Of course, we're back in fucking Maradonia. It's Florida sometimes. Maya
Briefly,
and Joey.
like for a minute.
Maya and Joey are our protagonists. They're brother and sister team. We've got Apollyon and Pluton, which are evil guys. Prince Rasmus, Queen Dido, Alyssa. I don't know if she has two names. That's the prince and his mom from some other kingdom. I don't fucking even remember what it's called. Oh, from Carthago. Not to be confused with Carthage, which it definitely is supposed to be. Master Dominatio, which is like their Maya and Joey's magical advisor guy, who is like their vizier while they're gone. Geir Kralla, I don't know how to say that.
I say Geir Krall.
Guy Krall, all right.
Yeah.
Nick Kroll is the pirate.
Nick Kroll, the Dread Pirate.
He's the Dread Pirate. He's a pirate guy. He's a bad dude. Jody and Jolene are some servants to, or ladies in waiting or something.
They were like in a coma for like a couple of centuries.
No, those are two different people.
Are they?
Yes.
No, those are the coma girls.
No, they're not. Oh my god.
All right, can I say this, Paris? Like, for all of its other flaws,
we can't even get through the characters.
I think honestly, Gloria did a decent job keeping track of who is who, what character is doing what. I definitely lost track of all the generals at some point. As far as I'm concerned, all the generals are one person. There was someone named Ulin Kosenko, which kind of sounds like a Star Wars name.
No, it sounds like a figure skater from the 90s. I swear to God. Wait.
Or that.
Hang on. Now I gotta check this because that name sounded like
there's a couple of like, hey, that's just a Star Wars thing. I'm pretty sure there's definitely an Endor in here somewhere. Did you catch that?
Yeah, there was. I don't remember what it was.
There's one offhand mention of a place called Endor, and I'm like, okay, you just ran out right there. I guess.
No, Jody and Jolene were the ladies in waiting to Hilda, Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme. The two ladies that were like vampires or in a coma. I don't even remember their names. You're going to have to be the master of that, Chris, because Chris has the book. And we got Tarakan and Emoji, the two main dragons. Yeah, Emoji. I'm just calling him Emoji. And then Chris's final note is, fuck this, I don't really care who else is in here. And that is also how I feel.
I'm just sorry. I didn't want to keep track anymore. It doesn't really matter. It really doesn't.
Yeah, so
everything is so, like, evanescent. I don't want to bring up 90s and early 2000s rock bands, but just things come and go. It barely matters who's, I can't even, like, even the plot thread and, like, why Joey and Maya go from place to place sometimes is baffling. I know the general idea is that they're uniting all the kingdoms for the final fight against the evil empire.
I was going to say, I actually thought the very basic, like, 2-sentence plot summary makes sense. Yeah, like you said, they're trying to. I think I summarized it as like there's like an arms race going on.
Okay, well, I don't know. We could start there, right? Because even the arms race part doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, that's true. But so just listeners, please know that so much of this book is fucked up. We're just gonna go through it in our notes in chronological order. It's gonna be a mess. I'm sorry, there isn't a more organized way to do this because. If, for example, if we wanted to divide it into, like, plot holes and grammar and spelling and syntax issues, like, it wouldn't... I mean, the grammar, syntax, and spelling problems are... I mean, the pages are basically made out of illiteracy. Like that's how it feels. And I don't mean to be disparaging. Obviously not everyone has the same access to literacy education, but these people did.
Listen, but Paris, did. Sentences make sense in a way, right? Like, there's so many, like, dropped quotation marks, and you have to, like, reorient yourself as to what the fuck just happened because, like a day will pass in a sentence sometimes, and other times it's like a lot of you know that whole show don't tell thing? This is pure telling. This is telling all the time exactly everything with no artfulness.
Well, and there's clearly, I mean, I think we've discussed this before, but to me it's very clear that Gloria didn't write this, and that her parents, who
I don't,
they know English as a second language, so I think it's pretty clear that this book is written in the style of someone who, I think specifically her dad, who whose primary language wasn't English. And again, don't mean to be disparaging, but get a fucking editor, so like this shit doesn't happen. I'm sure that Gloria had a part in like coming up with ideas and stuff, but the way it is written, it's obviously written by somebody whose primary language is German. That's all. That's like,
I'm a little mixed on that, man. I still don't completely buy that, to be honest with you.
Well, but if you read it, doesn't...
heavy hand, sure, but
Maybe.
like doing most of the I think Gloria is the one that sat down to write the stuff out for the most part.
Yeah, but her dad rewrote it so much that it's his voice. Like, it is the voice of someone whose primary language isn't English. I think that's pretty clear. And again, I'm going to keep saying this because I don't want my point to be misconstrued. Like, I everyone learns languages at different paces. Like, we're not all fucking literary scholars, but if you are publishing something, it needs to be run through editors. It needs to be run through, friends who can read it for you. Please, like, if you're struggling with a language, please get help before publishing. That is all. I don't want to discourage people, but this is an adult man who just shit all over some pages and put it out in the world, and that is not what you should do.
We're going to come back to that later for sure towards the end of this. So let's, casting all that aside, let's just take the book in a vacuum of its own space, as if this is just a book that appeared on a shelf. Yeah, like,
fuck.
It appeared on a shelf somewhere. Let's kind of divorce the artist from the art for a minute, which I usually don't subscribe to, but for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about what happens.
All right.
In The Law of Blood.
So the main plot is that Apollyon, who's basically Satan, and his son, whatever the one that's still alive, Pluton, they are trying to figure out how to get back into the underworld because the door is locked.
It's a problem.
That is like one of the first issues, because at the end of the last book, Joey and Maya stole the key to the underworld, which is also like a nuke laser pen. It's like it's like one of those Swiss Army knives, but
it has a real varying power level too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it will like blow a hole in a 40-foot wall. Other times it can precisely disintegrate birds. Other times it will implode a whole tower with a mushroom cloud. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like the most dangerous Swiss Army knife in the world. It's like, oh, it's the key to the underworld. It's also a nuke. Kind of a crazy key fob to have just lying around. But
Joey really does leave it lying around, too.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So anyway, so at the end of the last book, they stole that, and I guess because it is a dual-purpose item that is both a nuke laser pen and a key, they took the key and locked everyone out of the underworld. I don't know why the evil guys left the underworld. I'm honestly still confused about whether the underworld contains the ice palace, or if that's...
No, it's up and also down, Paris. So here's the thing.
Okay.
The ice palace was like in a bunch of mountains, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's where like the water park part of it is. The water park evil palace.
No, the water park's in the underworld, Chris.
No, totally different. No, Paris, no way.
No.
The water park is like...
That's it, I'm looking at old notes.
No, the water park is like part of the evil palace. It's like the grounds outside the evil palace where...
No, it's in the underworld, I swear to God.
The underworld is in like, it's in a nearby mountain that is visible from a high point in the water park, because Joey climbs up, remember? He climbs up to like the highest point in the water park to get a view of King Apollyon unlocking the door to the underworld, and that's how he knows to steal Defender, the
I cannot fucking believe you remember that. I don't remember anything. My mind has been purged of all knowledge.
No, I tried to make sense of the locations for everything.
I'm really glad that you did, because I don't... All right, hang on.
Okay, so the underworld...
I'm checking our old notes, but continue.
Here's where the underworld... There's that other mountain area that Joey saw when he was at the highest point of the water park. There's a door up in those mountains, there's like a carved out plaza, I don't know, or something like that, where there's a door, and that door has a staircase that leads downstairs to where the entrance to the underworld is, which I believe is another door that Defender also unlocks.
Oh my god.
However, the problem is that when Joey and Maya escaped with the mermaids from the underworld, because the mermaid place was like next door to the underworld, if you remember, there was like another door where the mermaids were imprisoned or whatever.
Yeah, I remember the mermaids being in the water park, but
the unicorns were also trapped down there.
I thought it was all the underworld, though.
I think the underworld was like a separate room.
No, Chris. All right, wait. No. What am I doing? I'm gonna get up and get the book.
We can't. No, Paris. We have to cover Law of Blood. You can't be bringing. Oh, come on.
It's happening. Hang on.
Maradonia, 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 Maradonia.
Ow. God.
Maradonia.
All right. Dust it off.
Maradonia.
Gold of Ophir, because I think that's when this happened.
Maradonia.
Were you just singing Maradonia?
Yeah.
Maradonia. I forgot about that. That was their song.
Yes.
Just Maradonia. I'm feeling a little touched today, FYI. Oh, I had a fucking long night. All right.
Are you really gonna look? Are you sure it's in Gold of Ophir and it's not in Key to the Underworld, which is like the other one we got?
Chris, no, we don't have Key to the Underworld, Chris.
Isn't that like how? Remember, we there was the second half of Seven Bridges, which is Key to the Underworld.
Oh, I don't know. Hang on.
That's probably where whatever you're looking for is.
No, because
Paris, just don't look. Put the book down. No. We don't have to worry about being accurate about this. I think
we do. I'm so because I just want to know. Because I remember thinking, why the fuck would there be a water park in hell? And I feel like we had a discussion about
the water park is above hell, so Paris. It's also above the big staircase leading downward to hell.
Oh, I just saw that baby illustration. Oh, no.
Paris, you know, like, the Four Kings stairway in Dark Souls?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
That's what it is.
Okay. I think you're right. I think it might have been the other book. God fucking damn. I fucking hate this series. Damn it. Fucking Christ.
Okay.
Moving on.
Law of Blood. They got locked out of hell, and they need to get the keys back.
All right, and then the other part is, so they've lost the key that is also a nuke. So the other part of the plan, their part of the plan is like, well, we gotta get back into hell, so we're gonna go through this like circuitous route through this crater to get there. It's like some secret back door to the underworld. And they're like, well, once we get back, we gotta hire the guy who made the key to make another one. You know, of course, so we can have the same power level as Joey, who has this nuke. They also want another nuke. So when it first starts, I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of a coherent plot. Like, I mean, it's incredibly dumb, but like, at least I follow it. At least I'm like, okay, the bad guys have a goal. They are going to try to accomplish it. Fine. Which is sometimes more than we get from Maradonia. So, and then Maya and Joey have decided, they know that the bad guys are going to attack them. And so they have an early battle between dragons and rockins, if we remember, which are the ravens and hawk?
Yeah, raven hawks.
I don't know why.
That's why rock, raven, hawk.
Right, raven hawk. Thank you. Yes, it was right in the name. What was I thinking? And they're supposed to be incredibly badass.
They're the pit bulls of Apollyon's army. They're the pit bulls of the sky.
Pit bulls of the sky.
They keep saying that over like it's a cool thing. Like even King Joey's like, we call them the pit bulls of the sky.
Yeah, and even though pit bulls aren't Pit bulls aren't big mean dogs. I love them and they love you. And that's I can't believe that the misrepresentation of pit bulls continues even in shitty D-grade fantasy books. God damn it. Don't denigrate pit bulls.
Hey,
they're
a
lovely.
D is almost passing, Paris.
What?
A D is like a passing grade, right?
Oh, you're right. I guess it wouldn't be a D, huh? Well, anyway. There's an early confrontation, like I said, between the Rockins and the Dragons. The bad guys are like, well, if we force Joey to use the key to the Underworld, if we force him to use the nuke, which is also called Defender, because everything has at least 2 names in this fucking series. And it's not in a cool way, like in fucking Malazan, where there's a reason things have 2 or 3 or 4 names. This is just, they couldn't pick. I don't know. But they're like, well, we'll force him to use the nuke so we can then advance our war of aggression. Once it's seen that they're using a nuke, then we can have one too. So
it's not even... Yeah, they just wanted an excuse to use the cold light waves. If you remember, the cold light waves are the ultimate supernatural weapon that Apollyon and Pluton have at their disposal, which just sounds like laser beams. But also, they didn't have a problem using the cold light waves in Florida when they were chasing Maya and Joey on the Florida beach.
Yeah,
But also, weren't the cold light waves completely, like, done under by, like, sunglasses or an umbrella or something? I remember they used, like, some simple objects to, counter that shit.
I don't know.
But what if you're the big evil king and you just want to be evil, because let's face it, Apollyon just wants to be evil for the sake of being evil. That's his motivation.
Oh, yeah, totally.
As cartoonish as it. So why wouldn't you just use the cold light waves? Why do you have to, like, what fucking United Nations of the 7 Kingdoms Maradonia do you have to, like, explain your cold light waves usage to? What fucking, like...
I know, that's a very good point. I don't know. So anyway, so that's, like, how the book starts. The Maya and Joey, you know, they, of course, win the battle, but they're like, oh, no, we know they're going to come back. I think they get, like, some spy message that's like, hey...
Maya and Joey almost always have perfect information at all times. Even if there's one secret, they're going to find that secret out 3 pages later, tops.
Yes, exactly. So they know, they're like, well, they're going to attack us again, so we need to get some allies, which, again, I'm like, okay, this... At least I can understand that. Again, guys, I'm really just grasping at something here.
Are you guys ready for, like, the hard-boiled political machinations of Maradonia? Because that's what this book is.
Oh, yeah. So they're like, all right, we need some allies. So they decide to take off to neighboring kingdoms to try to, you know, recruit some friends. They go to Carthago.
That's where most of the book takes place, because...
Yeah.
Okay, just to set this up, the kingdoms I remember... you have Maradonia, which Maya is the queen of, the warrior queen of, because she fought those 12 ghosts on the other beach.
Hey guys! If you want like good warrior queen content, just play Visigoth's warrior queen and enjoy that, and don't think about Gloria Tesch. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, so Maya is the queen of Maradonia. Joey is the king of Tyronia, which is like the Dragon Island nation, which he took over because the old King Pergamon was like, hey, you can have it, Joey, because you showed up and you got a cool backwards baseball cap. I don't know. I forget why.
It seemed pretty random. It didn't really seem to make a lot of sense, so.
Gorgonia is on board because the Princess Hilda is in love with Joey, and also her older sister Brunhilde, who is like the actual queen, also is on board with allying up with Joey because they both think he's cute, I think, is the reasoning there.
I don't know why Brunhilde is down with it. I don't know.
She likes Joey too.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
No, she doesn't. Brunhilde
There's a part where Brunhilde was like, Joey saw me first and he was dancing with me first.
Okay, I think you're thinking of the other book. Brunhilde is married to someone else now, happily married to someone else.
Oh, okay,
maybe
that's
in this book. So, yeah, I think in the last book...
she definitely had a paragraph where she was like, and also Joey liked me first anyway.
Probably. I don't know. Anyway. So that's kind of, that's the setup, and then I think we can just start with our notes.
Yes. Now, Carthago is where they travel to get them on board with fighting the evil empire.
All right, so apparently the Law of Blood, because, you know, in every book you need to define the title of your book in, like, the first couple pages. The law of
You don't
blood.
remember in the Rye where they specifically said what the Catcher in the Rye was in the first 3 pages?
Yes, sure. And in, Slaughterhouse 5, they tell
They
you...
said the slaughterhouse it's the 5th slaughterhouse. That's why it's called number 5.
Yeah, so I think it's on the first page or first 2 or 3 pages. It says the law of blood is, quote, someone must die so someone else can live. And I just was like, okay, sure, like at a very reductive level, the cycle of death and birth is essential to, decent quality of life on a planet of finite resources at any given time. But I don't know if that needs to be called the law of blood or if that even makes sense. Why does that even need to have a title? I don't know.
Because King Apollyon has to say something deep and meaningful. This book still has your Maradonia isms sprinkled throughout, like freedom isn't free. And, tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Yeah.
Like, always, like, italicized or bolded for extra, like, you should learn from this, everyone.
So just like a bad paper in a Philosophy 101 class, we've got someone must die so someone else can live. Fucking great. Brilliant.
Yeah, step 1, guys. Really.
Yeah. Wow. And then there's just I just have a list of a bunch of weird shit. They keep talking about doorkeepers, and I was like... Are there just people standing around that open and close doors? But then I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, I guess that is a thing in palaces, right? Is that a thing? Is that real?
If it's like a special door, right? If it's like a door you want to keep guarded, there must be a door guard,
But this guy just follows someone else around and opens doors for him. He's a traveling
doorman. It's like a food taster.
Yeah.
In case the door is poisoned.
Oh no, sir! My hand is melting! Don't go through this door!
I mean, you could put like tactile poison on the doorknob, right? They're just really thinking ahead. They're being really paranoid.
Oh man, no, you're right. It's probably fine, but they just kept mentioning this doorkeeper following this guy around, and it was just kind of annoying to me because it wasn't necessary. Like the doorkeeper didn't provide anything to the story.
He opened the doors. For King Apollyon.
Anyway, I don't even know if it was Apollyon. It could have been. I think it was somebody else. Actually, I think it was like one of the other demon guys. There's a ton of weird misspellings and non-words in here, like signalized.
When you signalize someone, you're signaling them. Yeah. But it's like you're signalizing something else.
Oh, Chris, I'm sure actually if you could just crack that book open and just give us a couple more, I'm sure you could.
Oh, you want to play the game where I just open to a random page and look for something that's weird?
Oh, apparently. Oh, I just saw your note, Chris. Do you want to play the game now?
Yeah, you know what? Why don't we just do this at the top of the episode? Give the people what they want.
All right.
We're gonna go full off the rails here. Fuck this whole chronological order shit. Here's just a bunch of random selections. Paris is going to pick a number between 1 and 398, which is the amount of pages in this book, and I'm going to read that page.
All right, you know what? Let's go with... I almost said a number that was beyond 398. That would have been dumb. Let's read... Chris, what's on page 69?
All right. Gotta start with the fun numbers.
Sorry, I just had to be stupid for a second. Or for several hours.
She looked once more at the flowers, the trees, and the blooming hedges in the garden, and again at the old necklace that Melanie had given her, and then she returned to her chamber as the twilight sky turned dim. The dinner and food had already been cleared off the table, and everybody had begun to go to their rooms, but Kriemhilda was hungry, and quickly ate some leftovers in the kitchen of the palace. On her way back to the chamber, she ran into Brunhilde, who mocked her with the words, "Hello, Miss Beautiful. Couldn't you make it in time to the dinner table? Sorry that you had to eat our cold leftovers in the kitchen. I hope that you will sleep well, and tomorrow you might have a better day than today." Kriemhilda looked pitiful at her sister and answered with a sad smile on her face, "Certainly. Tomorrow I'll have a better day than today. Good night, and don't forget, I am your sister. I love you, and let me tell you one more thing. I want to live in peace with you. Give me a hug and a kiss, and let's forget about the fights in the past." Queen Brunhilde looked astonished at her sister and asked, surprised, "Peace, a hug, and a kiss from you? What's up with you? But, oh well, why not? You're my family." Princess Kriemhilda stepped forward, hugged and kissed her sister on the cheek, and said, "Good night, and may the gods be with you." Queen Brunhilde did not like the words of her sister, because deep inside she felt that this situation sounded like some kind of farewell. But it was late, and she was tired, and when she answered, "Good then. See you tomorrow morning for breakfast, and then we'll talk."
All right, could you read the midway point? So page 199, please.
199? Okay. What nobody saw, except King Joey, was that the magician unleashed a little leather bag from his belt and poured some purple powder into the palm of his left hand. "Look, this magical powder in the palm of my hand is the most famous live elixir, the fountain of youth that makes every woman younger and more beautiful. Queen Dido, you are the empress, the queen mother. Let me show you first how this elixir works. You will see most of your wrinkles will magically disappear, but please, look directly at the palm of my hand, and don't blink your eyes." Queen Dido, Queen Miranda, and Princess Adele were still laughing, smiling, and looked with great anticipation at the purple powder from the foreign merchant. Just at the moment when the merchant inhaled deeply, Joey jumped forward and tackled Queen Dido to the marble floor. 2 of the 3 senators behind the queen opened their mouths in shock, and the purple dust started directly into their naked eyes. The 3rd senator, standing just a little too far away from the action, was not intoxicated. Chaos erupted. While the 2 senators were shrinking and shrinking to the size of a mouse, Princess Adele shrieked, and so did her mother, Queen Miranda. Maya grabbed the 2 mini senators and put them into one of the glass lanterns. The cleaner was shocked and looked totally puzzled at the 2 shrinking senators in front of his eyes.
Wow, okay. Do we want to just do a few more later?
Yeah, you know what? That'll happen a couple times throughout this episode.
Okay, great.
So, the looked pitiful part there was just like a weird tensing of that word. It's a good example. And mini senators shrinking all of a sudden. Batshit stuff's happening all the time like that in this book.
There's right at the beginning, speaking of batshit stuff, right at the beginning, there's a line that says, "Celebratory dwarfs materialized out of nowhere." And I was like, what does that even mean?
It was King Apollyon coming back to his palace for a minute, and yes, dwarves just materialize out of thin air to dance and celebrate. And that's it. That's all.
Sure.
I don't know where they're waiting all day. Are they at
dwarf
home?
Hell? I don't know.
No, they're at home, and then,
they're in the water park.
Yeah,
that's what I choose to believe.
The beeper goes off, and they're like, "Oh, hold on, gotta celebrate," and they blink out and back in.
Honestly, not the worst job.
True. Hey, I'm an on-call party dwarf.
Yeah, an on-call party celebrator is pretty cool. Whenever the text mentions the people of the 7 kingdoms, I think we're in A Song of Ice and Fire, and it fucking hurts.
Okay.
It hurts me!
That's true. A Song of Ice and Fire has hurt us in so many ways, but also, Paris, can you name the 7 kingdoms of Maradonia?
Maradonia, Gorgonia, Carthago. Does the Underworld count?
No.
Hang on. Terramilli?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. 4. That's way better than I thought I would do.
Totally forgetting Joey's place.
What are the other 3? Oh, Tyronia?
Tyronia.
Okay, that's 5. Oh my god, I'm almost there. 5. Okay. What's the 6? What's 6 and 7?
I can only remember 6.
The Queen Aqua Marisha, the mermaid kingdom, right? That's one of them. I don't remember what the fuck it's called.
I don't know if that counts. I think that's in Terramilli.
Oh. Wait, but Terramilli's the evil continent or land. I don't know. Shit, what are the other 2?
I know one more.
The land of... Oh, fuck.
You want to know the 6th one that I know?
Yeah, what is it?
Punt.
Punt?
Punt. You don't remember the kingdom? The kingdom of Punt.
No, I do not remember the kingdom of Punt.
The kingdom of Punt is one of the 7 kingdoms that they must unite. It is only mentioned as a place they have to get to unite, and never again.
All right, what is the 7th one then?
I don't remember.
Check the map, Punt. Chris. Check the map.
The map doesn't even have Punt on it, Paris. It only has 5.
No way. Wait, I have a map too. Hang on.
The map has Maradonia, Tyronia, Terramilli, Gorgonia, Arcadia, maybe?
No. Selinka's a city.
Font size is in no way helpful. I know what you're trying to do, Paris. Font size is in no way helpful in determining what the other kingdoms are.
What about Coastland?
No.
What about Lupusville? No, that's a city.
No, that's the werewolf town. You get it? Because Lupus.
Oh, it must be Arcadia, right? See, okay, so we've got Guys.
But Arcadia is a city, I think, much like Abelantis, which has a completely different font size and type.
Yeah, I actually
Punt is definitely one of them kingdoms, dude.
All right. I'm gonna see if I don't see Punt anywhere.
It's nowhere. It doesn't exist, but it's mentioned as a kingdom. I double-checked it myself.
Well, it must be past the Aguna Ogini Pass at the top there.
It must be, clearly.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to figure out how this map is... How is this divided?
It's not. We're trying to apply logic. We're only, I don't know.
I'm gonna say it's the Mermaid Kingdom, Awanada City, in Lake Lagoon, inside of Maradonia. So it's what do you call those...
Like a duchy?
A nation that is surrounded entirely by another nation, like Lesotho, and obviously, like almost every native nation in North America, like an independent nation surrounded entirely by another independent nation. Lesotho is the only one I can think of.
I don't know.
Oh fuck, I can't remember what they're. I'm almost there. I almost got it. Fuck. Now I can't remember.
All right, Paris, we got so much to cover here.
I don't care. This episode's going to be like 4 hours long, and you're all going to like it.
No. Stop.
I'm sorry. I'm feeling real silly today.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Paris.
maybe it is just a landlocked country. Okay.
State locked is what I said, actually.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
All right. Anyway, let's continue. That's the plot. They gotta go to Carthago. Apollyon and Pluton are plotting all the time in the back. They don't really do anything. They send the Rockins a couple times, and that's about it. That's really it. There's also Geyer Kral's dealings with them also, but that's kind of a background. The Evil Empire doesn't really directly do much besides send Rockins a couple times, and also have a couple of its Black Ops agents, I guess, act against Maya and Joey.
Yeah, so there's a subplot of romances for Maya and Joey, and so the first one we encounter is Hilda being in love with Joey, like Chris mentioned earlier. She and Brunhilde have these very unrealistic squabbles for sisters who are, I guess they're 16 and 18, but just the way they're written, it's just not how people talk. And there's this maidservant, I think, starts with an M. Melanie. Thank you.
The maidservant.
So Melanie is Kriemhilde's, I don't know, she's taken care of her whole life, so sort of her guardian, non-parental guardian. And Kriemhilde's obviously distraught that she hasn't seen Joey in a long time, because they only ever saw each other at a ball? They danced
it was
at
the
ball?
coronation ceremony for King Joey to become king. By the way, would you like me to read a segment of Brunhilde and Kriemhilde arguing?
Sure, please. Please grace us with this.
What's wrong? What happened, Kriemhilde? One of the two maidservants chanted. Their golden dresses flickered in the candlelight and made their dark skin glow. Hush, hush, dear child. Everything is well, Melanie muttered. No, everything is not well. Just at this moment, Brunhilde marched through the door. What's going on here? Queen Brunhilde folded her arms and looked with a fierce face toward Melody and the two maidservants, who quickly bowed down and exited the room. Aha! I see. Mood swings again. One of your ridiculous mood swings. Maybe you're not happy with your life here in this palace because you are depressed again. But why? Do you hear me? I asked you why. You have everything any girl could ask for. Do you have an idea how many girls or young women would give anything for what you have? Kriemhilde looked with wide-open eyes at her sister and turned fiercely. She yelled, I don't have everything. Nobody loves me, and I am sad and lonely every day. I have no one to comfort me. My parents are long gone. First, my uncle, Hans Erik, died, then our mother, then our father, King Thor. I only have you, and you boss me around all the time when you get real mad. You even lose control over yourself. Me losing my control? Ha! Excuse me, please, Miss Beautiful. I'm not the one with the big attitude problem here. There's a bit of it. I could go on. But...
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's just not written well. So after she has this argument, she goes to the garden to cry, because that's what she does. She goes to cry in her garden all the time.
Garden of Tears.
Garden of Tears, yep. I mean, hey man, I love gardens too, but you should use your garden
big, expansive garden for crying in that Kriemhilde uses, and when Melanie comes in to like comfort her, she's like, "How did you find me in this garden?" And Melanie's just like, "It's a big garden around the castle."
I mean, I just think that people should use their gardens for both joy and sadness. Like,
sure.
Gardens are great. Anyway, so Melanie's trying to be helpful, and she's like, you know what? I know what it's like to be in love. I'm going to help you get out of here and go visit Joey, because I guess Brunhilde didn't want her to leave for some reason. I still have no idea why.
Because she didn't like Joey. She thinks Joey's a player because he went with Queen Aqua Marisha.
No, that wasn't Queen Aqua Marisha he fucked. It was another mermaid.
I don't think he actually did anything. He was just charmed by another mermaid.
Yeah,
and Brunhilde's like, that he's a player. He'll break your heart, just like all men do.
Well, which is obviously the whole inspiration for The Secret of Moon Lake was Joey's interaction with that mermaid.
Sure.
Because she, like, took him to some cave and he almost died of exposure or something. I that's, like, all I vaguely remember.
He was also about to turn into a mermaid. That was the threat.
Yeah,
that he would turn into a mermaid.
That's right. And she was much older than him, and it was predatory and
that's
creepy.
why Brunhilde doesn't like Joey.
Yeah, she's like, he chose a sketchy mermaid over you. That guy doesn't need your time of day. So I'm like kind of on board with that.
Honestly, he chose something with a non-human bottom part. So, I mean, I guess I shouldn't discriminate against mermaids.
Yeah, Chris, I just watched The Lighthouse for the second time last night, and I don't want to talk about mermaids right now. Spoilers for The Lighthouse.
Okay.
Should probably say that before I say anything. But anyway, Melanie's like, hey, man, I know what it's like to be in love and not be able to see the person you love. It really sucks.
Why don't you tell that story, Paris?
What, about being in love with someone that you can't see right now?
No.
I was like, wow, we're getting that personal? Okay.
No. I mean the part about her boyfriend who died. Melanie's boyfriend.
That's what I was getting to. You interrupted me. By reminding me to say the thing I was about to say.
It was a setup, or it was cueing you. Okay.
Anyway, Melanie's like, yeah, man, I totally get you. I once dated a guy who was, I was in love with this man who had to go off to war. And, he went to war and, and he wrote me a love letter with his own blood as he was dying from the very wound he took the blood from on the fucking battlefield, and she pulls it out of her goddamn dress, and it's like
smudged and shit too.
And it's like they try to imagine it in the text, and it's just like a different font. It's really weird. But like, how are you gonna write a letter with blood from a wound that you're dying from? Like, who has that kind of time?
The story was he got sent ahead as a scout because I think it was like Melanie's parents or something didn't like that she was in love with this soldier, so they went to the general that was in charge of. His name's Kevin, by the way. They went to the general in charge of Kevin. They're like, "Hey, send him out on a suiciding scout mission so that he will die and he won't be a problem for us anymore." And dude's like, "All right, word." And then Kevin does it, and after he's shot by an arrow while he's out on his suicidal scout mission, he's like, "Oh, I know what I gotta do. I gotta take this blood and write a letter to my girlfriend back home. Hello, Melanie. I love you very much. It's so cold. I'm dying, but I love you, Melanie."
I just don't understand how you would have the will or the dexterity to utilize blood from a wound that was killing you to write a letter. Like, so I guess it's plausible that he was walking around with paper and a writing implement. But why would he use his own blood? Why wouldn't he just use the ink that presumably
he just had the
pencil?
paper. He just had the paper.
But how did he use the blood? Did he have a quill that he filled with his own blood? Because that's kind of cool, I guess.
It's gonna be the raddest death love note ever.
It's like the Marquis de Sade fucking writing with his own blood and shit.
Oh shit! I messed up. I gotta dip it back into my blood again. Oh, okay.
God.
Just scratch that out.
God, can I get by any 2 episodes without mentioning the Marquis de Sade? God damn it. Sorry, everyone. Sorry.
All right, so that's the lesson that Melanie gives Kriemhilde, and she's like, "Hey, I'll help you out here. I'll help you escape on our Griffins. I've got 2 Griffins that are very loyal to me. They'll take us away from here and away from the oversight of your sister Brunhilde."
Yep, and she's like, yo, also take these two maids, Jojo and Juliet, or whatever the fuck their names are.
Jojo Junior Shabadoo.
Jojo Junior Shabadoo. Take was it Jolene?
Jolene and Jody. By the way, I figured out the other two coma sisters that I mixed them up. That was Izusa and Tanika. By the way, don't worry about who the coma sisters are. They don't fucking matter at all. There's something about a book called the Necromanus, which is just the Necronomicon.
Yes.
It literally, like, they mention it at the top of this thing, and I was like, oh, they're gonna be like looking for that, and no, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't ever come up again. So don't worry about that ever. That's why I didn't remember what their names were.
Oh man. Yeah. Anyways, she's like, hey, take your two maidservants or ladies in waiting or whatever. Go see Joey. Peace. So they try to get there. Something goes wrong, and the Griffins end up getting into like I forget what happens. They get into a confrontation with the pirates.
Shows up.
And I don't really understand though. Like, if they can fly, why would they get into an altercation with pirates? Anyway,
because they were going over the sea, and so you remember that scene in Game of Thrones where Victoria?
Oh no, Chris! No, we're not.
Not Victoria. Euron took out.
No. It's just such a stupid fucking scene. But it's fine. Go ahead.
That's what happened, though. That's what happened here. Is that they were flying over the pirate ships and they arrowed the Griffins to death.
Oh, yeah, okay. I don't know if they died, but yeah, they definitely hit them hard enough that they dropped Hilda. And so she gets dropped into the ocean, rescued by the pirate ship, but obviously, enslaved, essentially.
They're like, good, slaves for selling.
And, it's only her. The maids in waiting get away.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she gets kidnapped by the pirate guy. Remember, Nick Kroll, the pirate, he's there. He takes her, and, there's this weird interaction where he's like, I don't know, where they're like, oh, must just be a serving girl, and someone's like, no, she's too pretty to be a serving girl, and I was like, what? Since when does someone's beauty have anything to do with their station in life? That doesn't make any sense. So many people are like, no, there's no way she could be there's no way she has to be someone important. Okay.
But they don't even really think she's that important, because later on she gets sold to Pluton. And Pluton knows that Gaia Kral doesn't know that she's Princess Hilda,
right?
Because he only gives him 500 ducats. I don't know how to say that word.
Ducats, but I think they call it something else in this book. I don't remember. But
anyhow, so Pluton's like, oh, he doesn't even know who she is. So this scene is largely pointless, where you could have just left it oh, they just didn't know who she was. They didn't have to argue about this.
So there's that happening, and then meanwhile, Maya and Joey are trying to recruit Carthago to as an ally in the war against the bad guys. So they go to Carthago, which is definitely supposed to be Carthage, and they talk about how they have dinophants, and they're war elephants, but they're dino war elephants, and so. Let's welcome ourselves back to Paris gets hung up on a small detail and does a bunch of math about it because she can't handle it. Welcome back to this segment on the show. This is
I'm so excited to do elephant math.
You might remember Lake Lagoon, our arguments about lightning and thunder.
You might know me from previous petty arguments.
Actually, I think this one is not petty. I feel like this makes sense. So. They go to Carthago and they're like, oh, sick, we got war elephants. Oh, also, before I even get to the math, they explicitly say, Prince Rasmus is showing them around, and he says, oh, yeah, if the elephants become afraid in battle, we just fucking murder them.
With a hammer and spike into the brain in case they get afraid, turn around and murder our own soldiers.
My God. And I was like, okay, hang on. I guess I'm going to go start my own Dinophant eco-terrorist group because, fuck this shit. So that's just a sentence that happens and you're just horrified. Wow, that's fucked up.
It's supposed to be a cool thing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cool to just murder your fucking... I mean, don't get me wrong, the war elephants in real Carthage weren't treated very well. They were often, stabbed in the legs and they, would basically do things to make them extremely aggressive and work them into a frenzy. So it's not like they were perfect. And plus when, Hannibal had his famous campaign against the Romans when tried to bring a bunch of elephants over the fucking mountains. They did have to kill a lot of them because they just couldn't go on. Like, they just eat too much, which brings me to my point. So they're like, oh yeah, we got a bunch of these dinophants. In fact, we've got 2,000 dinophants. Do you know how much of a strain that is on the food system and budget of a community? Like, how of a kingdom, even 2,000. I mean, like Hannibal's army, I think they had what? Like,
maybe don't ask me.
60. They had 60 war elephants.
I wasn't around, so, that's someone else.
I think it was something like 60 war elephants in Hannibal's army, and that was an extreme amount of elephant to feed and water and keep alive. And they're like, oh no, we got 2,000. Like, okay, all right, fine, let's play. I'll fucking play your game. All right, so let's assume, and I actually think it's generous to assume that a dinophant is like a regular Asian or African elephant. Of course, Asian and African elephants are different, but in general, elephants as a whole can eat anywhere from 200 to 600 pounds of food a day and drink 50 gallons of water. So, even if we're talking on the small end, like let's say these dinophants are like smaller Asian elephants. And again, I'm saying that I'm being generous because a dinophant sounds like it might actually be even larger than an African elephant because of the way they talk about them in the book and because they're supposed to be big and like scaly. So anyway, at a conservative estimate, we've got 400,000 pounds of food at a minimum and 100,000 gallons of water each day.
That's a lot of water. Maybe that's why they got that water park, right?
And like on the upper end, so you're looking at 400,000 pounds to 1,200,000 pounds of food a day. A day, people, a day. Where are you getting all this food? How are you feeding these dinophants? 100,000 gallons of water a day for 2,000 elephants. Also, where are you keeping 2,000 dinophants? Like, elephants need tons of space. I can't imagine that dinophants would need less space. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's a fantasy world. Sure, you can have things that are not real, but can you just take a second to at least make it consistent, or at least explain why maybe the dinophants aren't a crushing weight on the ecosystem of your kingdom?
The dinophants that they murder when they're scared?
Yeah.
That's the food.
Well, no. Elephants eat leaves, Chris. They don't.
Not these ones.
Maybe not. Maybe dinophants eat. Yeah, maybe it's just this horrible Ouroboros cannibal system that they have where they feed the dinophants
Paris, the
dead
law
dinophants.
Of blood.
The law of blood. Chris, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Fuck me. You figured it out.
That's what the others may live. The law of blood. That's what. Because hey, can you tell me at any other point where the law of blood comes up in this book besides that one part at the beginning?
No, it does not.
Okay, so there, I solved it. I've done it.
Thank you. All right, so
moving on.
So the dinophant thing is bullshit. All right. The Prince Rasmus has a crush on Maya, and even though Maya has a fiance back home, I want to say are they engaged or maybe they're just.
I don't think they even did anything, to be honest with you.
Well, it's her boyfriend at the very least.
Yeah, at the very least, like, they are understood to be a couple of some kind.
Yeah, and the second Prince Rasmus expresses any interest in her, Maya's like, oh yeah, but maybe though. And I'm like, what? Okay.
Her big struggle is, I have to choose between two dudes. Which, I don't know, was Twilight out around this point or something?
I don't know.
Was it just, like, getting that flavor in there? Like...
Maya also has a passage where she's, like, talking about how hot she looks in a dress, and she's like, yeah, no wonder he can't stop, like, liking me or whatever. Like, okay, dude. So that's weird.
Think about how special Maya is. At the same time, Prince Rasmus, by the way, don't love that I have a very close last name to that, is... It is trying to woo her. She's also getting telepathic messages from the fifth dimension.
Yep, the fifth dimension.
Listen, so Maya was, Gloria was sitting down to write this, and she was like, oh no, if they're away from their kingdoms, I can't just rely on them using their Ton caps and turning invisible and like just standing next to like traitors all the time. So how am I going to get information from Maradonia to Carthago or anything like that? Carrier pigeon? Nah. She's going to get telepathic messages from Master Dominatio and Libertine, the fairy that has helped her before. Because also, telepathy is the fifth dimension because reasons. And also, it's basically a total new lifestyle is how it's put in the book. Once you're telepathic, it's just your whole lifestyle changes, Paris.
Dude,
like,
I'm just imagining like one of those like 80s or 90s like a shitty like those dating VHSs you get, but it's like totally new lifestyle, the fifth dimension, and there's a bunch of like pastel triangles everywhere and like bad music.
Fifth dimension telepathy helps you orient your life in the best path for you because you're always getting secret messages from an advisor that knows exactly what's going on from the people that are trying to kill you.
Would you like to never make a mistake again? Welcome to the fifth dimension. It's so easy.
Just have a telepathic link with everyone that you decide to have a telepathic link with. Because honestly, there's no reasoning for why she has a telepathic link with who.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I know that it like initially happened in the last book, I think, but I don't remember exactly why. And honestly, it's
kind of all over. There's 3 people that she has a telepathic link with, and we'll get to the third one way later, which is its own fun thing.
Oh, but I don't remember that, but okay.
Do you remember the Immortal Man, Paris?
Oh yeah, okay. We'll talk about that later. But there's just a bunch of weird little things. They talk about the war harbor, and I'm like, do you just mean, is there a separate military port? Like, I don't understand why they had to say it that way.
Yeah, they have the merchant harbor, which is a completely different harbor. I mean, you probably want to separate your boom boom boats and your bring money boats.
Well, yeah, but war harbor, like military port, right? I don't know. War harbor seemed weird to me, but maybe that's just me. And then all of a sudden, in addition to the like third, fourth, fifth dimension shit, all of a sudden, prophetic dreams are a thing in this universe. And I don't remember ever having established that dreams are prophetic in this universe.
They're not really. I mean, the dream comes from Queen Dido / Alyssa, the 2 named queens. She has this dream about 2 senators are speaking with a man in a purple cloak and plotting against the royal family because there's like a senate and a royal family here, I guess. And the whole thing is that Joey needs the Senate to agree to ally with Maradonia, and the Queen's on board, but the Senate isn't. And there's 2 traitors in the Senate, and that the Queen sees through her prophetic dream. So they just go to the Senate. They're like, "Oh yeah, 2 of you are traitors."
No. You're missing my point about the dreams first.
Oh, sorry.
So the Queen's like, maybe Maya knows how to interpret my dream. And Maya's like, oh yeah, I totally know how to interpret dreams. And then she's like, oh shit, I gotta phone a friend. Hey, Dominatio, what the fuck does this dream mean?
Yeah.
I don't know why everyone is like, oh, surely Maya and Joey will know what this dream means. And then they're like, yeah, we gotta call Dominatio on the telepathic highway.
Also turns out the dream just means that you're being plotted against. Ooh.
Yeah, it wasn't anything cryptic. It was literally the exact. It was like, hey, 2 people are plotting against you with a 3rd external party, and I don't know why that dream needed to be interpreted.
Just in case.
But I just also don't get why they think that the dream means anything.
Even the Senate is like, guys, it's just a dream. We can't make like hefty political. It seems like a political play. Honestly,
I don't think that happened.
No, they did. The Senate honestly does tell Joey, like, hey, we can't base this off of just a dream.
Oh, I don't.
It seems like they literally say this seems like a political trick of some kind.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that, but that's fine. I'll take your word for it. There's a lot of shit in this book to remember. And my favorite question is, why would you tell the group of people that you suspect to have traitors in it, that you know there's traitors in it? Like, wouldn't you want to secretly root them out rather than just be like, hey, I know 2 of you are traitors? Like, then they're just going to get away and maybe accelerate their plot. I don't know why you wouldn't be more careful. That's just how you sow
discord. That's like what the evil people do when there's a traitor. It's just to like fool you. Also, like they're like, hey, everyone in the city of Carthago, be on the lookout for a man in a purple cloak and a velvet crown, because that's what the Queen saw in her dreams. So if it's going out to everyone in town, wouldn't the guy just be like, oh, I'll change my cloak and crown. They'll never find me now. They don't offer any physical description, just the clothes he was wearing in the dream.
Yes.
So don't go out wearing a purple cloak in Carthago.
Yep, they'll try you for treason. And there's just another minor weird note where they're talking about bronze. They're talking about how they need. I forget what the bronze note is. I just was like, wait, but bronze is a tin alloy, and tin. Makes only like 1/8 of the formula. And I was like, the other 7/8 are copper, so like, does Carthage have copper deposits? They have a fuck ton of silver because I don't know, they were talking about some of the importance of bronze. Now, I probably should have written more about that note, but I basically was annoyed that they were trying to say that all they needed to make bronze was tin, and I was like, no, that's not true. You mostly need copper. Tin is only a very small part of it. Why would you get this very basic thing wrong? Anyway, but maybe I'm crazy. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not a metallurgist. I'm not a metalsmith. What the fuck do I know?
I thought you did write metal, though.
Oh. Yeah, Queen Dido / Princess Alyssa, because you need to be both a queen and princess and have two vastly different names for no reason. Sure repeats herself a lot, and I still don't understand why two names.
Because she was Princess Alyssa in the other country.
And then she married.
And her brother took over that country, and she like gave him that part, and she took over because he's the king of Ophir.
Right. We determined that Maya's seduction by Prince Rasmus is complete because he showed her some dinophants and then wind blew his hair around.
Yeah.
And that was enough to tip the scales for her to forget her boyfriend back home, her like sick general boyfriend or whatever. And there's also this, and then I make a note that there's a scene shortly after where sweaty muscle man make me forget boyfriend. I guess it's fine if we make out is a great description of the like 5 pages of that scene. Yeah. Rasmus is like working out and Maya walks up and is like, oh, sees him and gets all excited. And then he like pushes her up against a wall and makes out with her. And she's like, oh, this is kind of fine though. And I was like, what?
She's into that. She's totally into it.
I'm just surprised. Like, I mean, whatever. Like, I don't think there's
she never really feels like a bad person about this. By the way,
right.
She's
exactly.
just like, oh, I have the problem. I'm in love with 2 men.
Well, and I guess obviously I don't have any problems with a text like depicting something like this. That's fine. My shock about it comes from the fact that the Tesches are super Christian and are very much like, they don't want any. I don't know, sexy, what am I trying to say?
What are you trying to say, Paris?
I'm really surprised that they would include something like this in their book because it seems like they want Maya / Gloria to be the perfect Christian daughter, So it's surprising to me that they were like, that they included something like that.
I actually switched over from thinking that Maya was the self-insert to Hilda was the self-insert.
That doesn't make any sense, Chris.
Yeah, true. But all of a sudden, Hilda is the very nice one.
Oh, yeah.
That is perfect.
It is weird, though, that, like I said, I'm just really surprised that,
she is the one that's into Joey, though, so that makes it extra weird. So, that's massive points against it.
We've had our theories about that before. But, I was just really, surprised that the Tesches would be like, oh, we're going to include some infidelity, but I don't know, maybe to them, it's like, they're not married, so it doesn't matter. I don't know. Anyway, that was a dumb point. Anyway, there's this, I said cheating on your spouse for the good of the empire. Classic fantasy move. Because that's basically how Maya thinks about it. She's like, well, if I can get it, if I like him and then that helps us retain our ally, our allyship with them or whatever, then I was like, yeah, I guess that's a pretty normal fantasy thing to include. But anyway, Chris, you had a great note here.
There's a moment where like Joey and Maya are about to like go out on an excursion. It's not the House of the Dead one. That's later. It's just some other thing that they were going to go out and do. And Joey, who is the king of a nation, a dragon rider, is still like annoyingly tapping his foot in the front hall of the Carthago castle, I guess, and going like, oh, I gave Maya 20 minutes for her girls' time. And then when he gets all upset at her for like making out with Prince Rasmus, he's like, I see you with your kissy time. It's like,
yeah, I don't think an 18-year-old boy would say that.
It's the thing about like so much of this book, like you're trying to accept Joey as like this, and Maya as like these warrior monarchs, right? But I still picture them in like backwards baseball caps, and they still have backpacks they put on. They have like cloaks. They're putting the backpacks over the cloak. It's this real cacophonous tone melange where it's like on one hand warrior queen, on the other hand like 90s skater kid that from like middle school.
Can I just say cacophonous tone melange is like my favorite thing that you've said in like weeks.
That's the only way I can describe it. It's like I'm imagining like Joey in like full scale armor in a cloak, but also has like a backwards baseball cap and like a JanSport on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, and then there's this other point before we move on to the horse. There's when they're talking, they're trying to get Carthago, to ally with them officially, like sign a treaty basically. And I was like, hey, maybe the kingdom should have just decided this together, like about who is going to head the military command, because Joey's like, oh, I don't know, we're trying to be allies and stuff, but like I think I'm just going to be in charge of the military. And he just gets in front of the Senate and is like, yo, I'm in charge of your military now. It's like, what? You're some foreign king and you're going to come into the Senate and be like, yeah, I'm in charge now. It's cool.
Yeah, a foreign king who's 18 with a backwards baseball cap. No,
yeah,
He's skateboarded in here and called me a dweeb and spit at me.
It just seemed like a very weird way to navigate that politically.
Maya and Joey aren't exactly, subtle when it comes to their machinations.
So by this point in the book, I think, what are we, halfway through? Almost halfway through, and I'm losing my mind because the other shitty thing about this book is not only its content, but the fact that the book itself smelled heavily of cigarette smoke, like stale cigarette smoke. So every time I read it, it was bothering me. I hate the smell of stale cigarette smoke or like weed smoke or anything like that. Although those are two distinct smells, but I don't like either of them. And like they just, I don't know, old smoke smell just makes me, oh God.
I didn't get that as much, honestly. It wasn't as bad for me. Maybe I'm like used to smoky smells or something.
Yeah, I think you are, Chris. You smoke a lot of weed, my dude. I'm sure that cigarette smoke doesn't bother you. What?
Quiet.
Okay, all right. You're gonna be shy about that now. Okay, that's fine. You can cut that if you want to. But so I'm approaching the halfway point. I'm like, all right, only a little longer. I can do this. And I'm like, oh fuck, this fucking book smells so bad. And it's not like you can avoid it because when you're reading, it's not like you can hold it really far away from you. Like I can't.
Especially me.
Yeah, I know. Like we both. I mean, obviously Chris's vision is much worse than mine, but like, yeah, I have to also read it at like a normal distance, and so it was just. I had to take so many breaks because of the smell. I would have finished it like days earlier if it were not for the smell of this book.
I had to take so many breaks because I just like every fucking page. It wasn't the smell. It was just like in there, the words. I kept wanting to like, I'd rather be doing anything else right now. And I don't even get that bad when I'm reading other terrible books, but this one, I thought it would be quick. Like the font is big. It's not that many pages for like a big old fantasy thing. And like every 5 pages, I was like, I could just go have a snack instead. At one point, I was like, I could take a nap, and I almost did.
I have more fortitude, I guess, but I'm really glad that you fought through that. You fought through those snacks and those naps, and you got through. But so anyway, so I'm kind of like I'm kind of deranged at this point in the reading. Is my point, you know? And I've taken so many notes, and I'm like, fuck this book. I'm so fucking tired of this shit. I can't wait until we never have to read these again. And I don't know, there's just a moment where Prince Rasmus is like, hey, man. Oh, actually, Chris, do you want to do your note first?
He's like, hey, Maya, let me introduce you to my best friend. Close your eyes. And I was like fully ready for it to like turn good kind. And Maya would open her eyes and he'd just have his dick out and be like, ah. But no, he's instead going to show Maya his horse, his immortal horse.
His best horse friend, his best immortal horse friend. And this horse goes by the name Speedy Galvin. Or Cisco. And so for some reason, my mind was like, oh, Cisco. I remember that song from when I was a kid. And I just rewrote like 2 parts of it about the horse.
Okay.
Because I've lost my
right.
mind. I don't think I can perform it, truthfully. But maybe later. I don't think I can perform like Cisco, but just so you know, there are rewritten lyrics to the thong song about this horse. I can try to just read it, but I might die. I don't know, Chris.
That mane's so scandalous, and you know another kingdom can't handle it. So you shaking that tail like who's so fine with a look in your eyes that's so equine. Nay, you like to prance in the rolling fields, and you get up to the palace to get your meals. Not just wheels, he also feels because you're living in Maradonia. I think I really fucked up the flow at the end there.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Thank you for bringing my dreams to life, Chris.
I think I really messed up the meter at the end there, though.
Oh yeah, you did. It was great. Just put that. I can't wait until you put an imitation thong song track behind that. It's gonna be amazing.
Oh well. Anyway, that happens.
I laughed about that for like an entire day. I just couldn't stop.
They've got an immortal speed horse, like Shadowfax, but better because it can fly. Also, it doesn't even matter. They just go to like a field full of strawberries for a minute, and then they come back.
Oh, and then the horse is never mentioned again.
Yeah, yeah, never ever again.
He was just there to kind of help you get your dick wet, I guess. I mean, not that Maya and Rasmus.
No, they just had strawberries in the field.
But like this is the point where Maya's like, oh, I think I really like him because he rode on his magic horse, then we eat strawberries. And then I have a
Barbie fantasy of what a boyfriend is.
Dude, I know. Yeah, it really doesn't. Well, and it's like it's not even good. It's not even good.
Wait, Paris, you wouldn't like to fly on a horse and go to a field full of strawberries with your boyfriend?
I don't know. I mean, I
See,
definitely,
you're like, okay, you're not totally against it, though.
No, I mean, I'd totally like to ride some horses with my boyfriend because, you know, fucking nerds. But
sure. Yeah, so what's the problem? Let Maya have her strawberry immortal horse field fun.
It doesn't seem genuine, Chris. That's why I have a problem with it. Just try to fuck her. I don't trust those strawberries. I don't trust the fucking horse.
Anyway, moving on from the horse thing. Now, oh, hey, remember that purple cloak, velvet crown guy? He's the cleaner sent by the evil empire with a magic purple powder that shrinks people down to mouse size. But only if he gets it into both your eyes at exactly the same time. You remember that passage I read before?
Yeah, hang on. You know what? I made a note about how this item is worse than something created by the fantasy item generator. Let's find out.
Yeah, you did. You basically just said the note.
No, I'm saying let's find out. I'm going to use some of them.
Do a fantasy item generator?
Yeah.
This is especially weak because like a pair of goggles or one eye patch would immediately render it completely useless. Or if he's even like when he's about to blow the powder in the queen's face, he's like, okay, don't blink. He's got to like really. He has to set all of this up so much for this to work. Anyway, basically the guy, the cleaner here is like, the senators just stand behind the queen so she can't move to the left or right, and then I will blow the powder in her face and she'll shrink down, and then we will have taken over the country because I can put the queen in a glass lantern or something.
Yeah,
like that.
and also like, why was that? Like, we've never heard of this evil magician before.
Why
there's
do you
no
have to
scene.
Shrink
There's no.
her?
Yeah, and there's no scene setting it up where like the evil guys hire him or anything.
Can't you just like blow poison dust in her face instead? That way you don't have to worry about like, oh, keep both your eyes open and don't move to the left or right. Also, I have to have 2 traitor senators behind her to ensure that she doesn't move left or right or blink her eyes.
Yeah. So, all right, here's one. All right, fantasy item generator. This is springhole.net. That's a weird name. Magical quirky item maker 2. It's a robe made of silk. It's studded with animal teeth and looks somehow familiar. It was made by a pirate, and its previous owner began having hallucinations shortly after acquiring it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Were you thinking this would be funny, Paris, or would you just get like a bunch of random D&D items?
No, I just wanted to prove that a random item generator could be better than this thing they came up with. Yeah, like the fact that you have to get the powder in both of someone's eyes simultaneously doesn't. I get having to give someone the right dose, right? Like enough of the thing.
Yes.
But why does like
both eyes?
Both eyes, and why would that make someone shrink?
What if someone has one eye?
Oh my god, they're immune. Immunity.
Can't shrink me, bitch. I got one eye. I don't have the proper depth perception to appreciate being small.
Oh, here we go. Here's another one. It's a belt made of crystal. It's of a strange design and looks very fragile. It's used for controlling fire.
You're just giving me like magic items I'm going to give the D&D party at our next session.
That's great. But yeah, I just think that just so low effort, which is how I feel about all of the things that have been in this series.
After Joey tackles the queen to the side, because by the way, this was the plan. By the way. Oh, no, we didn't even get to that point yet. We're about to get to that point, because here's what happens. Maya and Joey go to the House of the Undead, which houses the City of the Undead, which is under or something.
Oh, but we can't decide if they're the dead or undead, because those terms are used interchangeably, but then they try to define the fact that they're different, but then they apparently forget a few sentences later.
Anyway, Maya and Joey go to the House of the Undead because the little princess... of Carthago.
Adele, baby Adele.
Yeah, baby Adele is like, oh, I want to go check out that House of the Dead. Can I go, Brother Rasmus? And he's like, nah. And then there's like some kind of disagreement that happens, and only Maya and Joey end up going for... I don't even remember why they decide to go, Paris.
Well, they went because the meeting of the traders supposedly happened near there, right? Or they thought the traders were going to meet there.
They didn't have that information, Paris.
I thought they did.
They did not have that. That's my whole issue with this, is they go there for some reason, and then the trader meeting happens to be there. The whole thing that they're worried about when they're going there, they're not worried about being caught by anyone. They're worried that, if we pass bodily into the world of the dead, we can't come back out. There's like a myth or something that's like people that go into the city of the undead, they come back out and find that they're not human anymore, and they have to go back to the city of the undead because that's where they belong now because they're undead.
Right, but yet the Underworld, they're saying the Underworld is all undead people rather than actually dead. And I was like, wait... Weren't you all in the Underworld? Haven't you been there? Wouldn't this apply to you?
The city of the undead is it's got different rules, I think, Paris.
Oh, fuck me.
That's the only explanation. Anyway, so again, I don't know why they go into the house other than they were like, Adele wanted to go here. She said it was cool. I guess we should go and leave her behind. And then the evil meeting is happening there, and that's how they find out about the plot to shrink the queen with the purple powder with the cleaner. And then they go to bed and don't tell anyone about it.
Oh, that's hilarious, yeah.
They go home and they're like, let's just go to sleep. I'm sure we can wake up in time. And then they oversleep instead. And Joey can tackle the queen away just in time. Like, fucking guys, maybe tell someone. The guard that let you into the castle when you got back, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wake the queen and let her know that she's going to be poisoned soon?
No, you know what? We're just too tired. Too tired to save the kingdom. Sorry, guys. Too sleepy.
Anyway, they save the queen. And Joey nukes people with Defender.
Well, you read the scene where that happened, I believe.
Yeah,
where they saved her.
Where they saved her, but then immediately after, some of the senators and the cleaner are running away, and Joey just points Defender at them and disintegrates them. With like a small, like not a nuclear level explosion that like levels a tower. It blows a hole in the 40-foot wall, but then also just disintegrates people into a pile of ash. So I don't understand how Defender works.
Oh yeah, no, and don't you love how Joey and Maya are just like judge, jury, and executioner?
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, then they immediately engage in a cover up because Princess Adele sees this happen, sees them just nuke this guy. I think it was just one guy, right? Or was it two?
It was the cleaner and one senator.
Okay, or maybe it was all three of them. I don't know, but it must have been all three. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, Adele, Princess Adele, who's a child. We don't really know how old she is. She's written as a child. Is like, I saw that, and Joey's like, no, you didn't. Don't tell anyone you saw that. And it's like, if you're, if it's so justified, then why are you so worried about it? But yeah, I mean, it's like, obviously, Maya and Joey would be horrified if, King Apollyon did that to someone, but they're totally free to just nuke people at will. It's fine.
There's a moment in this scene, too, where Maya, like, momentarily disappears and then comes back and she's like, sorry, I had to pee.
Yeah, she goes, I had to go to the bathroom, sorry, but anyway.
She literally just, randomly leaves to go pee and then comes back. Like,
and has to tell us all.
Yeah.
And then the next weird point is like Rasmus shows up just wearing a captain's outfit covered in medals, and I was like,
because he's a boat guy. He likes boating.
Yeah, but he's like 16. What?
You know, nepotism.
And like Princess Adele tries to steal the nuke pen.
Because she saw it and she was like, that seems fun. I want that thing.
Yeah, and
Joey leaves it in his backpack that he just throws on the floor of where the chamber that he's sleeping in. Turns out there's like a secret passage that the princess knows about. Dude, if you're in a strange castle, don't leave the nuke wand in an unsecured backpack overnight, which has secret passages you're probably unaware of that a small child can gain access to.
Yeah. And I think he catches her before she actually steals it, right?
Yeah, because he's like wakes up from like a dream and he sees like a shadowy figure on the floor, and then he realizes, oh, it's just that little girl. Get out of here, dude. That's it. And he's like scolds her. He's like, oh, you scamp, don't do that. Don't try to steal the weapon of mass destruction. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's real weird. I have no words. Teenage boys who love fishing is a weird constant in Tesch's writing. That's my
next morning
note.
they're all out fishing.
Joey loves fishing. Rasmus loves fishing. In Moon Lake, whatever the main character's name was. Do you remember? Sam loves fishing. Sam's friends love fishing. Teenage boys, fishing. That's all they want to do. You have a note about Joey.
He sees a boat that they're going on. He's like, man, that's a real sea sniper there. It's just another example of like when they think they have a cool term that they made up for this book.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's sea sniper. That's a cool sounding thing. Let's give Joey a line about that.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that, so good job. And then there's a line about how they serve Poseidon, and I was like, wait, what about the deity? What about God that you've named?
Most of the rest of the book, they're like, oh, you two are touched by the deity. That's why you have all these telepathic fifth dimension lifestyles.
It seems like a very monotheistic universe. Like, the deity is God. It's supposed to be very Christian. But then all of a sudden they're like, we serve Poseidon. And you're like, wait, what?
That's how he can walk on the floor and everything. I was like, that's the mermaids, though, that gave you the stuff that lets you do that. But yeah, whatever. Just another inconsistency.
Wait, what do you mean walk on the floor? I don't know what you're talking about.
Maya, like, when she's on the boat, because she's not fishing, because girls don't fish, I guess, is the
or she's on the she's on the boat, but she's not fishing, right?
Yeah, she's just like reading and drinking mango juice or something. They're only drinking fruit juices.
Always.
And then like she just, because she tells Prince Rasmus like, oh, I can totally just I spent time underwater with mermaids. He's like, what? How did you do that? How did you breathe underwater? And she's like, don't worry about it. And then she dives overboard with her like magical water breathing conch shell or whatever, and like walks to a beach on an island that's far away. And Prince Rasmus is like, where'd she go? We should be worried. And Joey's like, don't worry about it. Maya just always survives everything. It's fine.
Yep.
And then she comes back later, and Prince Rasmus is like, where did you go? How did you, like, I saw you go underwater, and then you came back like 3 hours later. What the fuck? It's like, don't worry about it. And that's it.
Yep. And then actually, we have like a combined note here about how, so at this point in the story, after all these like side quests, we return to the main plot, and they've finally, after they straight up nuke the traitors, they're like, all right, Senate/City Council, because they conflate those two ideas. All right, City Council, Senate, we're gonna sign this treaty. So like the Queen Alyssa Dido, Queen Princess Alyssa Dido, she goes to sign the contract, the treaty with Maradonia, basically, in the Senate, and she's talking to, I forget if she's talking to Joey or Maya, but they're like getting ready to walk in and sit down and sign it together, you know, in like kind of a press photo op kind of way, and she goes, oh yeah, I got these anklets that tell me if a contract I'm about to sign is bad. And I was like, wait, if you had these magical anklets all along that were going to tell you if the alliance was bad, why were you concerned about the Senate giving consent? Why did you have a vote? Why did you even care about the traitors? Why any of this?
You could have
why?
The Senate could be like, well, how do the anklets feel when you have the treaty in front of you? And she'd be like, well, they're fine. And they would have been like, okay, well, the magic anklets that always tell you if fraud is occurring should just always be step one, right?
Yeah, and then there's also this incongruous there's like two incongruous details. So there's like these people, the traitors, I don't think we mentioned this, but the traitors were like, the queen took away all of our power, but in the text it's evident that the Senate can override the queen because she's asking them to vote on things. And they said no at first, and then they had to like come up with another way to get the treaty to happen. So which is it? Is the queen overpowered, or does the Senate still have control? That's like another reason I don't understand why any of this plot had to happen. So it just totally cut the legs out from its own
like
plot.
200 pages.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's beautiful. And then, Chris, you made a note that the book is rife with overpowered D&D magic items, if you want to talk like, a little bit about that.
Anklets that just, guarantee whether a contract is bad. The Tarn caps themselves, which is like infinite invisibility at all times, would be a horribly overpowered D&D item. Even just like, the whole dragon army thing, technically, if you're allowing dragon armies, it's not really an item, but it's just like once you have the magic stuff and swords, and it just makes things less fun because there's less of a challenge. Once you have the laser key fob nuke, what? So there's so many times in the book too where everyone else is like, why doesn't Joey just nuke everyone? And Joey, then they have to go with the whole like, oh, it's the arms, right? Like, we can't give them the right to use the cold light waves. And it's like, all right, but you already used it in that one battle, so like, what's at this point? It just doesn't matter. It just none of the stuff matters.
I know. There's more small details. So the phrase "exotic dancers" is used, but it's supposed to be like,
I think it means foreign dancers.
Like foreign dancers, but it says exotic dancers, so I just thought they were having a celebration feast with a bunch of strippers. And
yeah, it's a celebration feast that Joey's crying at because he's crying and he gets drunk and he vomits all over himself.
Oh actually. Yeah. So they have the celebration feast to celebrate the treaty, right?
Yes.
And I don't remember why Joey's upset. Do you?
Kriemhilde got kidnapped, and he receives the news that Kriemhilde is kidnapped by Guy Kral. And
so he gets a letter and it says, oh yeah, Jolene and Josie and the Pussycats or whatever deliver a note from Kriemhilde, and it's in a language he can't read, so he just puts it down and never reads it.
That was what was confusing to me, because like,
why would you send a letter in a language someone can't read?
Okay, Paris, this is why I thought Jodie and Jolene were the Coma sisters, because like they were from a time before, and they would be writing things in a language that Joey can't read, right? So the train horn in the background, like the overbearing silence of you trying to figure it out. There's just what?
Sorry, y'all. That's the real train that goes by my house.
As opposed to those fake trains. Trains are a conspiracy theory. Have you been on a train the past 3 months, Paris? They don't exist.
That's fair. I haven't been in any vehicle or any form of transportation in 3 months. Yeah.
All right. You know what? Paris,
vehicles aren't real.
I think we just got to yada yada the rest of the plot here, because it doesn't, like, the next 100 pages do not fucking matter. They don't.
So I've got some notes here. I just have in all caps Coast Guard dragons. I don't know why I thought that was worth writing down.
They got dragons flying around the coast of Carthago, trying to like look out for Rockins, because there's a threat from Maya's perfect spy network from Maradonia, which she's always talking up. She's like, Maradonia has the best spies. That's our thing. We always have perfect information.
Fucking Mistress of Whispers over here.
Yeah, and so they have Coast Guard dragons set up to like look out for an empire of evil naval attacks.
But okay, but isn't it weird that somehow these Raven Hawks are formidable enough opponents to fucking dragons? Does that make any sense to you?
There's just like a lot of them, I think, is the deal. Like there's just thousands of them.
I guess.
The strategy is that they peck the eyes of the dragons out. So, I don't know, get some, like...
goggles, man.
Yeah.
Get your dragons some goggles. New from Gorgonia. Dragon goggles. They'll protect your dragon's eyes.
We call them droggles.
Droggles. Get your Droggles, fresh from Gorgonia.
And like they had this attack happen to them before with the Rockins, so why wouldn't they just make the goggles after to be like, okay, we'll take out the one thing that fucks us up?
I also just, but like, do the dragons? Do we know if they have fire or ice or acid breath? Or
They
anything
definitely
like
have fire
that?
breath. They definitely use fire breath.
So
on the
why
Rockins.
wouldn't they just roast a whole flock of fucking
Paris,
Rockins?
why wouldn't they just
God.
fly backwards and like roast everything from afar? Why wouldn't they?
I don't understand. Anyway, not that I think that it's always the case where like a smaller opponent is always weaker, but in this case, just like Ravenhawks versus fucking dragons just doesn't seem like.
Yeah, should be able to roast from pretty far away.
Oh, I guess the Falkland War happens again, but in the land of Maradonia somehow.
I don't even remember that part, so that's a note you're
I
going to
also
explain for yourself.
Here's another thing. So we call it the land of Maradonia, but like it's actually Maradonia and 6 other kingdoms. So what's the world called, or the continent?
I think the continent is also Maradonia.
Fine. But I have a note.
Just move past that.
Chris, can you please go to page 261? Because I have a note that says page 261, Tips Fedora. And I have no idea what that's about, so please read page 261.
This is Prince Rasmus bidding farewell to Maya. Tomorrow morning, soon after you have left, this is Prince Rasmus, I will organize the crusade, and we will sail with you 200 of our warships to the Falklands. By the way, I don't know where the Falklands are in Maradonia. That's not on the map either.
Oh, I was going to say, in real life, they were fought over famously by Argentina and the UK. They are off the coast. I want to say they're off the coast of Argentina.
All right, well, that's where Prince Rasmus is heading.
Wait, no, I'm wrong. No, they're off. Wait, am I wrong? Is that Argentina? Fuck my I'm American. We have no knowledge of
Continuing
geography.
on, I will be in command of this crusade, accompanied by my admiral advisors and captains, and we will be prepared, waiting with our marines in the shadows of the Tyronian Dragon Island for your sign to attack the enemy. I can promise you that the ships of Gaia Kral have no chance against my armada. Anyway, I will not guarantee too much, but I can tell you one thing. Not many soldiers of Apollyon's army will escape. During this crusade, the nations shall see how powerful the Carthaginian marines really are. I look forward with great confidence to this armed conflict. But remember, Queen Maya, the treaty says that we can come with our ships and take possession of the island of Akron and turn this place into an economical metropolis in the Strait of Tyrodia. Akron, Ohio is now a whole island. Prince Rasmus, we understand each other very well. I think so too, but now it's time to dance again. May I ask you, my lady? And there's your fedora tip.
Oh, okay. Thank you for helping me relive that. All of a sudden, the next chapter, there's just a real short chapter. It's like a page where they're like, oh, we're back in Lakeland with the Swansons. And I was like, who? What? It was like Gloria. God. It was like Maya and Joey's family in Florida. But they were saying they were in Lakeland and they were called the Swansons. And I was like, wait, aren't they from Oceanside? Also, I don't remember their last name being Swanson.
It's literally just like 2-page thing where it's like, also their family was still over here. Meanwhile, back in Maradonia, like there's no reason to.
Or maybe it said that Lakeland they were there on vacation. Actually, I think it might have explained the change in location in Florida. But yeah, I don't know why it had to be. It was just like her parents going, I wonder what Maya and Joey are doing. What?
See ya. Like, that's enough.
Hey, Chris, what are blank swords?
I don't know.
Do you know?
You tell me what blank swords are? Because there's a mention of them. I forgot what page they're on. Let me see if I can find it. But it's a thing that, like, Joey mentions. He's like, oh, we'll fight them off with our blank swords.
Yeah.
What is it like? You haven't customized them yet? They're, like, mass-produced things and you can, like, inscribe your name on the blade?
No, I think that they just couldn't come up with a descriptor and they accidentally left the edit in blank swords.
That's okay. Well, everyone will come up with this later. They're just blank swords. They're completely.
It's almost like we could just call them swords.
Yeah. No, that won't work. That won't work. We have to put something there. But
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are a variety of different types of swords, so but it's also fine to just fucking say swords because most people are just gonna think of like a longsword or a gladius or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, those are two different things to be specific, but
anyway,
gladius are shorter. Anyway,
Maya and Joey are off to save Kriemhilda, who has been taken to the Black Tower of Nautilus. which is, I always kept reading as not Italy.
I actually was reading it like the two alcoholic seltzer empires of Truly and Naughty merged, and they have this
created
bubbly,
like a black sorcery /
tower.
child enslavement area. Because
Yeah, you know what?
There was
I mean,
another plot in here, by the way, of like kids getting kidnapped and sent to a black tower. It doesn't fucking matter. It's just also the tower where Kriemhilde is. It literally doesn't matter beyond that, except for a scene where there's 2 other kids that Kriemhilde is taking care of.
Yeah, and then actually, wait, am I wrong about this? Yeah, no, I was right. Sorry, I had to check my Gladius and Longsword math. Anyway.
Jesus Christ, Paris.
Well, I've been yelled at before for using Gladius incorrectly, so I didn't want to make that happen.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that one comment, and now you're like forever
because
scared of being wrong about a Gladius. Oh no.
Well, I took a lot of Latin, and we had to talk about them. I should have known better. Basically, all I did was I described it as like a bit too shorter. Kill me. I described it as being shorter than it really was, and someone took issue with it. Anyway,
yeah, Maya and Joey off to rescue Kriemhilde.
Right. So Kriemhilde gets sold to the evil guys after the pirate. So the pirate sells her to the like literal demons,
Pluton,
and they take her to this fortress. And I don't remember Porsala, the fortress of Porsala, and I don't understand why they go. I don't remember why they go there.
They know she is like a good hostage to keep, so that Joey won't use Defender, and he can give he can trade Kriemhilde for a Defender.
Okay, actually like, smart. That's fine.
We'll put her in like the most secure area where we have all of our like child trafficked sorcerer students or whatever, and that's why they bring her there. I think there's even a passage where they're like, "Why don't you just bring her to like the evil palace straight away?" And they're like, "Who cares? Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Anyway, this fortress is commanded by Kimoko, just a brand new sorceress character introduced in the last 100 pages of this series, who has a parrot. What's the parrot's name, Paris?
The parrot's name is... The parrot is called... Hang on.
Drum roll.
The parrot is called Cuckoo Kaka. Spelled Kuukkaaka.
You had a little cadence there with it. Yeah. Cuckoo Kaka the parrot just kind of hangs around Kimoko and just repeats some shit she says.
I just feel like there's like some children's show where it's like Cuckoo Kaka the parrot.
He's on the shoulder of an evil sorceress. Don't get her mad or she'll turn you into one too. Cuckoo Kaka.
I think this book broken me.
Okay, so I'll continue. Maya and Joey show up, right? So they show up at the cast.
I guess some more coffee.
They show up at the tower with Kimoko and Cuckoo Kaka, who are in charge of everything. And Kimoko's like, "Don't worry about that, dudes. We know they're coming with their dragons. So here's what's going to happen. You're just going to catch the dragons in some nets. That's all you got to do. I don't understand why no one ever thought of this. If you just get a bunch of big nets, you can just catch the dragons that way. Yeah, it seems stupid that we haven't thought of this before, in fact.
Oh, all right. So I'm assuming you explained them going to the fortress, right?
Yeah, and I told them about the best way to counter a horde of dragons coming at your evil sorcery tower. Do you remember the weapon they used to neutralize the dragons?
No, I don't remember that at all.
A fucking net, Paris. That's all you need.
I do.
Just catch them all. That's all you got to do.
So
who cares if that guy has a laser nuke and you have other dragons and, maybe the nets could probably get torn up or bitten by the dragons or even turn... there's so many ways that a net might go wrong, but apparently not because just a big enough net, that's all you needed. That's all you needed.
Oh, yeah. My question was, how did Maya and Joey get captured so easily by 6 dudes in a net when they're the best fighters... They have a nuke laser pen and 2 dragons. So similarly, yeah, they're always talking about in every other instance how amazing they are at fighting and how they can take down a bunch of people at once with just one weapon and blah, blah. But yeah, these 6 dudes show up with a net and it's like, done.
Yeah, that's all you needed, dude. Just big enough net.
And then they're imprisoned in the fortress and Maya and Joey are like, oh, we've lost everything. This is the end. And I'm like, what? What did you lose? Like, won't your respective kingdoms come to rescue you and your allies?
Even the dragons aren't caught, by the way. The dragons aren't netted somehow.
No, they net Maya and Joey.
I know, but like you would think the dragons would do something about it, but no, they're just kind of flying around outside because they don't want to just nuke the tower because I guess in case Maya and Joey are in there.
But like they could have
flown back and like warned the kingdoms or something.
Well, they also just could have attacked anyone exposed in the fortress. Like I don't know, unless nobody was. Anyway, and then so Maya and Joey are like despairing. They're like, we've lost everything. It's all over. It's like, you're just in a jail cell. It's fine. Like, you're a powerful king and queen, supposedly. And then Maya somehow, there's like a skirmish where Maya somehow ends up.
The guards just come in the room to like feed them one time, and Maya just like overpowers 3 fully armored and armed guards.
Yeah, and then she opens Joey's cell, but there's like a further, I don't know, there's like more guards or something, and they just lock Joey in with 2 or more guards who will definitely kill him. Yeah. And I still do not understand, to this minute, I do not understand why they didn't all just leave together.
I don't either, Paris. It's one of the most baffling things that happens in the entire book when Maya's like, yeah, I escaped, Joey. Now here, I'm going to lock you in the room with the fully armored and armed guards. You'll be fine. See you later.
Yeah, and okay, so I have a note that says page 323 is an amazing example of bad writing, and it's right after that note about the guard fight, so could you please regale us with page 323?
Turning there now. Maya and Kriemhilde hurried up the stairs and soon realized that there was no way out of the fortress. They only saw more corridors and halls with stairways. Kriemhilde was shivering, her teeth shattered. What?
Okay, well,
I forgot about that.
You know, medieval times nutrition wasn't great. You know, little chittering.
Okay, the next sentence is she appeared exhausted and malnourished. As they tried to pass through the next corridor in the dim torchlight, Maya suddenly felt a sharp pain in her lower back. It was the pointy head of a spear, and both girls heard the deep voice of the commander of the fortress close behind them. Lay your weapon down, or I will pierce your body. You killed one of my men. We are not punishing you as a common thief anymore. You'll be buried deep down in the dungeon's death cell. From there is no return. Maya laid the sword down as more soldiers arrived. She felt a cruel hand grasping her hair to pull her over the floor. Maya began to slip, trying not to fall, and then her feet went out from under her. Kriemhilde started to cry as some powerful hands caught Maya before she hit the ground. The soldier grabbed Maya's hair again so vehemently with such vehement that she let out a cry of pain. But Kriemhilde jumped forward and hit the man's head so hard that he let go of Maya's hair, but he got angry and smashed Maya's head against the stone wall. Maya began slipping out of consciousness as the pain created several fireworks in her mind. She slipped deeper and deeper until she saw the shadows of gnomes and creatures of the outer planes dancing on the bottom of her own soul. I know whenever I'm about to knock out for the night, I can detect those gnomes and demons at the bottom of my soul. Just dancing. Those goddamn soul gnomes, Paris, they're the reason I feel so sad all the time. They just won't stop tap dancing on the bottom of my soul.
Oh, you know what? But just imagine From Software's gnome souls. It's gonna be out exclusively on PS5.
You can do, it's
gonna be great.
You can if you have a PC version of Dark Souls, you can mod your character to be extremely tiny. So that's totally a doable thing.
Gnome Souls. Oh, Gnome Souls. Once again, we're back to requesting that someone make Dark Souls Maradonia themed. I'm really sorry, everyone. Sorry that this is the thing we both desire.
Anyway, Joey does overpower the guards, and he kills one, and they just leave that guard's dead body in the cell with him. They're just like, whatever, he died there, he gets to stay there with you. And then they escape, and then at some point during all this, Kriemhilde is separated from Maya, because Maya gets re-imprisoned or something. They didn't really escape. The guards threw them back in the cells. They take Kriemhilde away. All they say is we're going to take you to a better place. And then Maya and Joey do escape when Maya, like, she reaches out to the fifth dimension again, and then she's like, oh, cool, I can just make the walls disintegrate with my hands and also create fireballs with my hands.
Oh, yeah, she gets the power of Fireball. She gets that spell. She's reached fifth... Is Fireball a fifth level spell in D&D 5e?
I am not...
Let's find out.
You know, I am about to be a 5th edition DM. I'm not going to memorize the fucking spell list. That's your player's job to do, not mine.
Oh, I know. I'm checking. Don't worry.
Yeah, but like, again, just another thing where they're not really ever in danger. This is probably the longest point because they're in prison for like 2 or 3 chapters. But then Maya just is like, oh yeah, I'll just tap into that 5th dimension shit again. Hold
Fireball
on.
is a 3rd level spell that I think you get at... Do you get 3rd level spells at 5th level?
Around there, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
Okay.
Something like that. Or maybe 4th level. I don't know. Something like that.
Anyway, yeah, Maya just thinks her way out of it. She's like, I'm going to tap into this new lifestyle of mine, my telepathic 5th dimension lifestyle, and I can just melt the walls and also throw fireballs. So, no biggie. We're out of here.
Yep.
And then when they leave, Joey is like, he has a cool action movie hero line about it. He's like, the fortress of Porsala will stand no more. And he points fucking Defender at the fortress, which, as far as he knows, Kriemhilde's still in there, right? Like, the whole reason he came over here and he was, like, crying and puking all over himself, and he just evaporates the fortress with Defender. Like, how do you know she wasn't still in there?
I don't know. I thought that they knew she was gone.
No, they all that happens is the guards take Kriemhilde away and they say, we're taking you to a better place. Maybe you can guess, but there's no reason to believe that she would definitely be out of there.
No, I think that they say something. I mean, I know they say, you know, we're taking you to a better place, but I thought there was more detail. I mean, you have the book.
There is not more detail. I assure you, I just read this yesterday, Paris.
Oh, that's true. You finished it yesterday. I finished it, like, last weekend.
Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, Maya and Joey escape from the fortress of Porsala. Kriemhilde is still far away, kidnapped again. And then Kriemhilde is just like off on this like weird side questy thing where it's like she's being taken to the water park evil fortress, but they come like the caravan she's in comes across like werewolves burning 2 boys at the stake, and she saves. Okay, they're tied to an oak tree with a bunch of werewolves around them. And the whole centerpiece of the werewolf thing is they're like laughing about how excited they are to roast these 2 small boys. And Kriemhilde separates from her caravan with her guards, who probably should be like, hey, don't fuck with the werewolves. We gotta go here. It's not your problem. They let her do that. And it says, okay, Kriemhilde was already crawling like a pirate with a dagger in her mouth. Does a pirate crawl different, Paris? Is there something that they do different? Apparently, because that's how it's described.
Pirates have I guess pirates crawl differently. I don't know.
Sure. Anyway, she goes up to the oak tree and frees the boys, who are also just, by the way, they offhand mentions like they're 2 beautiful black boys.
Yeah, I don't love that.
Okay, sure, all right. But it's just a weird way to put it. Anyway, she cuts them free and they slip away. In the middle of the werewolf celebration, and the werewolves didn't notice anything when the whole roasting the boys was the center was going on here. What? How could they get away? Anyway, they get away because fuck it. Who cares anymore?
Yeah, sure. Just do whatever. It's fine.
Anyway, they take Kriemhilde back to the evil palace where, guess you know what's going on at the palace, Paris?
What's up?
It's the Chaos and Curse convention, big old CCC.
Oh yeah, the annual CCC. Woo!
I don't know. I guess it's like all the evil people come around to cause chaos and swear at each other or something. Again, it doesn't matter. It's just a weird, random fucking thing that gets thrown in here. Who cares if there's a Curse and Chaos convention anywhere? It doesn't matter. None of this matters because Kriemhilde she's just locked in the water. I'm so ready to be done with this. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, Paris. I just have to power through. I'm sorry. I know I'm like talking over it, but I just need to be done.
No, it's okay. I understand.
Kriemhilde's at the water park. And that's the last we see of her, essentially, is just crying at the water park, waiting to be saved by Joey. Because then Maya and Joey are now going through Terramilli to get to the evil palace, but they land far away from it, like 3 cities away or something. There's a whole thing with the count that is like Count Argo Narvis is like under the King Apollyon, but he doesn't like him, so he helps Joey. And then they go to a city that's deserted. Why wouldn't they just land the dragons close by? Oh, fuck. Oh, I hate it, Paris. Oh,
I
God.
don't know, man.
Okay.
I really don't.
Take it away from me, Paris. Just carry me over the rest of this. While I struggled, there were sets of footprints on the beach, Paris. At one point now there's one, because I need you to carry me. Sorry, I forget if you described the Chaos and Curse convention and where there's like describe.
A magic show.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure.
Does that happen at the convention?
It's time, I don't know how many weeks pass by with Kriemhilde at the fucking place. Anyway, there's some magician called the Mahedine of Melissa, because there's a town called Melissa, and he's a magician, which I guess you call a Mahedine from there. So he's the Mahedine of Melissa. And King Apollyon came back, so everyone holds a celebration where they turn random people into pigs and goats and have them running around where King Apollyon is, and then the Mahedine of Melissa has a mango that he throws in some normal dirt, as it's put. It has to be normal dirt, and he grows a mango tree out of the bucket with the mango in it, and it destroys the stage. And I'm like, someone's got to build that stage again, asshole, for your fucking mango tree trick. Thanks, Mahedine of Melissa.
Yeah, I just don't even know why any of this needs to be in here.
Sure. Why don't you take us on the final side quest, Paris?
Oh, boy. Okay.
The final thing in Maradonia Souls.
I guess this is where we're going. All right. Well, so they I don't even remember like chronologically like what happens right before this.
They're landing in a city.
Right. They go because
they can't just go.
Oh, because Dominaccio's like, "Yo, can you help my boy out or whatever?" And they're like, "I guess." Right? Isn't that what
after
happens?
they land in the city first, and then they meet the boy, and then Master Dominaccio's like, "Oh yeah, that guy, help him." So
yeah, you're right. So they end up in this ghost town, as they describe it. I don't remember. Oh, they were going through there to get somewhere else.
To the evil palace where Kriemhilde is.
Right. Okay, thank you. Yes, so they're taking a pit stop for some reason in this ghost town. And they run into this man. They run into Chris Cornell.
We're not joking, by the way. He's the guy in the city that is like, I know who you are, and I knew you were coming. I figured I'd hitch a ride here. By the way, my name is Chris Cornelli. Nice to meet you.
Chris Cornelli, the Immortal, FYI, which is like a really unfortunate
He's
thing.
part of some magic, the Brotherhood of Positive Thinking, which...
Did that really say that? I don't
remember that. The Brotherhood of Positive Thinking. He was a member of the Brotherhood of Positive Thinking with their magical divine healing breastplate that he is on a hunt for. And he got the breastplate. He's got it in his folder, you see.
He's got it in a folder. How can a breastplate fit in a folder? If you had a folder large enough... That would be a really awkward way to carry around a breastplate.
I think she means messenger bag, Paris.
A breastplate is pretty big and heavy.
It's a big messenger bag.
I mean, yeah, I'm assuming that they must mean some kind of bag, but they keep referring to it as a folder, which is just wrong. It's the wrong word.
It is. It's just squarely the wrong word.
So Chris Cornell is
taking a break from Audio Slave and stuff with the pilots. Go on and save me now. I need a ride out.
I got this breastplate. I can't do a Chris Cornell. He says he shows up. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally here because I asked for help. Like I answered the divine call for help." But then really he's like, "Hey, can you just take me to the store? I just need a ride." Yeah. I gotta go to the Packy. Can you just drop me off at the Packy? I gotta grab some drinks before I go drop off this breastplate.
Yeah. There's a line here where...
Oh, sorry. People not from New England, the Packy is the package store, which is a liquor store or beer and wine store, depending. And it's called that because initially they used to wrap all your stuff in, like, brown paper so no one could see that you were buying booze. So it's this weird dialect thing. I just figured I wanted to point that out because I think people hear that and they have no fucking idea what we're saying. So Ta-da.
Yeah, that's where Chris Corneli needs his ride to. He's also like trying to use them to like also get the breastplate back to the Brotherhood of Positive Thinking up in like the icy mountains past the evil palace or whatever. It's that Agunia thing. That's where he needs to go with the breastplate to get back to his bros of positive thinking up there.
And what does he do? He like there's like some kind of flooding happen, or no, the town is a
drought.
ghost town because it's a drought, and then he helps them call the rain.
They go to another town where everyone moved from the ghost town to this other town, and it's also like super droughty. And there's 2 orcs that have control of one of the main water sources, so they have like a orcopoly on the water, and everyone in the town hates it because there's no rain ever. And Chris Corneli hit like everyone that touches.
Chris, just say Chris Cornell.
Everyone that touches the magic breastplate gets a special power or whatever. And Chris Cornell's power is that he can summon the rain. And there's a sentence here when he's summoning the rain where it says, Corneli's voice vibrated in the air and gave the siblings goosebumps. And goosebumps is capitalized, which made me think that they just randomly received like editions of the Goosebumps series from this vibrating magic voice.
Well, that explains why Gloria next wrote a Goosebumps book.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Anyway, yeah, so they go to this town. They have a fight with some orcs. Chris Corneli, like, there's like a whole scene where they're like, oh, we can't, help you guys out because we're starving or we're thirsty from the drought. And Chris Cornell, like, waits a long time to be like, oh, I can just make it rain, guys. Don't worry about it. Anyway, after he does that, everyone in the town is so, happy about it, and a lady immediately just starts to pull Chris Cornell into a side room or side building to get it on with it. I guess he gets always beating away those groupies for, solving drought. And he's like, hey, Maya and Joey, watch this breastplate that I have spent years hunting for. I gotta go fuck this lady who's into my Rainmaker stuff. So he goes and does that, and oops, they lose the breastplate because a man, actually they describe it as someone with albinism, and they kind of put it in a way that makes it seem like people with albinism are inherently sketchy and evil.
Yeah, that's kind of concerning, huh?
Yeah, anyway, that dude steals it, but hey, they get the breastplate back again. It's okay. Everything's fine. Everyone's celebrating.
Oh, and except they say, they use this phrase, it says, I forget the rest of the sentence, but the clause is confused like jellyfish in the ocean.
Jellyfish are always confused in the ocean.
Jellies live in the ocean. Why are they confused? Why are jellies confused? Does anyone want to explain this to me? The jellies aren't confused. They're fine. Yeah. It's where they live.
They know exactly where all the stuff is.
God.
I think the context was like Chris Corneli was telling them about his Brotherhood of Positive Thinking, and Joey was like, we're confused like jellyfish in the ocean.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't understand.
Anyway.
Fuck!
Paris, guess what?
What?
It's fine because, they're all celebrating. Maya and Joey defeated those 2 orcs that were, in charge of the wateropoly, but also Chris Corneli made it rain anyway, so it didn't really matter in the end. Mm-hmm. But, everyone's celebrating, and, they're like, hey, Maya and Joey have a celebratory drink on us. And the drink is poisoned, and Maya and Joey die at the end.
Oh, my God.
That's the end of Maradonia.
Chris, I'm not even kidding. When I read that, I was like, oh my god, is it over? And I almost wept.
They just fucking die, Paris.
I started scrambling
and fucking die.
I started scrambling through the appendix, assuming they were gonna that there must be another chapter, but I was like, no, they're fucking dead. Oh my god, what if they really just die randomly like this and we never have to read another thing about them again? How perfect.
Here it is, Pat. I'll give you the final.
Yeah, you know what? Let's revel in their death, please. I would like to just.
Here's the final page.
Bask in their demise.
Joey turned around and glanced at the excited people of Magadan. His eyes detected a strange-looking observer. This person was with a white goatee and long pigtails growing out of a black cylinder on his head. His robe was embroidered with blue ornaments on yellow ground. The man was intently talking to Gustafsson in what appeared to be a very demanding manner. The mayor nodded and went back to the city hall. Gustafsson and 2 of his clerks brought several chalices served on a silver plate. He offered Maya and Joey a drink. Please drink with me. This is a day of celebration. The lakes are filled with water, and Grawl and Brutus, the evil orcs, are dead. Maya and Joey, very thirsty after the fight with the orcs, drank the whole content of the chalices with big gulps. The observer with the goatee and the pigtails grinned and raised his eyebrows as he looked at the mayor. Suddenly, Maya and Joey started to cough heavily, and realizing too late they were poisoned. The poison worked fast, and Maya and Joey fell over at the same moment, splashing into the sea of blood between the 2 orcs and the 3 warriors. Joey, what's happened? It's getting so dark and so cold around me.
Yes.
Maya, this is the end.
Yes.
These miserable people have poisoned us. With my last breath, I want to tell you that I love you. It was a wonderful journey with you, but I never thought death would come so fast. Maya and Joey slipped down into unconsciousness. They slipped deeper and deeper until they reached a very different place. A place packed with shadows, dancing and celebrating. Shadows of gnomes and creatures of the outer planes, but it was cold there. Very cold.
Woo! Fuck. Yes. Fuck. Yes, they're fucking dead. Oh, we never have to read this again.
Oh, God. I mean, technically it does say, hey, it's going to be continued in the Battle for the Key, but as far as we know, we can't get that anywhere.
Yeah, so I know that we both did a little digging, and I found conflicting... At first, I found conflicting information, people saying, oh, it had been published, but it doesn't exist I don't think that it was ever actually published,
it
because
might have been
I
somewhere
can't
in
find
ebook
it
form,
anywhere.
but it's nowhere. I don't even want... We did our due diligence looking for it, Paris. We're done with Maradonia. It's over.
I think if anybody...
They're fucking dead.
Yeah, there's no... I mean, obviously, this isn't the way they intended for the series to end, because, yeah, clearly there were plans for not only the Battle of the Key, but there were actually plans for, 3 more books in addition to that?
Something like that.
Let me consult the Maradonia Wikipedia page.
Yeah, there was definitely some other thing, like the House of Kra or something like that.
Yeah,
All right, Paris, while you're looking for that, can we fix it?
No, because it's just even if you just keep the main elements, it's just a lame as fuck, basic ass fantasy story that anybody could write. I just you could fix it, but it would involve just a whole redo, except for keeping the skeleton of the hero's journey, which is already something that I'm just so done with. Unless someone does something interesting with it.
Yeah.
Which this did not. Yeah. But, I think we'll close the show with with some introspection on all this Maradonia stuff and the Tesch family.
We've made our way through all of these books. As far as we know, there's not any one more word we can read.
I'm beat.
Yeah, that's it, Paris.
All right, well, thank you.
We've left the land of Maradonia.
Fucking good fucking riddance. All right, well, thank you to Dari, of course, our patron who recommended this, or who requested that we read this. Thanks a lot for your continued support.
Thank you, Dari.
Yeah, Dari rules. She's been supporting the show since its inception, so many thanks to you. Thank you also to Greg, Will, Veronica, Dee, Lynn, Sinya, Jakob, Bobby Blackcat, Jensina, Mayo Cat, Elliot, Kieran, Martin, and Jay. If you want to help support the show, you can also donate $1, $5, or $10 a month to us on Patreon for various rewards. You can subscribe or follow us. Or follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Goodreads. You can share the show, tell some people about it. You can also rate or review us on a platform of your choice. If you want to contact us directly, you can send us a message on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Goodreads, or you can send an email to terriblebookclub@gmail.com.
If you're a $5 or more patron, you can watch the Maradonia movie with us, too. If that piques your interest.
And we also did last year, we did a month of Maradonia thing where we found a bunch of Gloria content on YouTube, because she also dabbles in bad music. That's another thing. Yeah, that's there. If you just can't get your fill.
Yeah.
It's there if you
want
to become a patron.
Paris, this is a 2-hour and 15-minute podcast, I think.
Fucking Christ. All right, well, I guess nothing else is happening today for me. This is it, because we got to record another episode after this.
All right. Well, bon voyage, Maradonia. See you never. Bye, Paris.
Bye, Chris.